it up. Bow, 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 bow. Come on, Jeff.
Someday you'll get me.
Why not? Why not today? Today's a great day to do it. We know who the Dodgers are going to be playing. It's a lot of, we're not extremely happy about it by any means, but the Dodgers are going to play the Padres this weekend in the NLDS. And I was rooting so hard for the Braves last night. And I thought they had a chance towards the end. Got into 5-4. I thought it was right there and just fell apart. Couldn't get through.
Yeah, not only do we face the team that probably is the less desirable of the two potential opponents, but they don't even get to a game 3 where they've got to stretch some stuff out. Obviously, Musgrove going out in some ways plays a similar role to if this game had gone 3, but not the outcome that the Dodgers would have hoped for.
I mean, if they go 3, you would have gotten Dylan Cease that he would have had to pitch in that game, and then you don't actually see Cease until at the earliest Tuesday in game 3. I mean, maybe even possibly pushing that to game 4 on Wednesday. I mean, it's a possibility, I guess. But the way that I'm looking at this is I am not afraid of the Padres in the slightest, especially how they played against them in last week or 2 weeks ago. And how they won that series and almost swept that series despite the fact being down for the most part. I just didn't want to see them in the slightest. We've seen them too many times.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think it's hard not to feel at least neutral, if not confident about the series, given how that last one went. They lose game 1, dramatic fashion, triple play, and then kind of smoke San Diego twice in a row. And it was playoff intensity and the division was on the line, and they go down in the first game and it feels like, oh my gosh, are they really going to blow? I mean, like, it was everything seemingly working against them. And then for them to come back and beat them twice, I think says a lot about the Dodgers team and makes me, again, it's a 5-game series. Crazy things can happen, but having just beaten them 2 out of 3 in the playoff simulator, basically, it makes me feel good.
So I'm pretty sure I saw, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw that you went live last night. I want to hear a little bit about what's going on. You did go live last night, right?
I was not on the show. We went live. Okay. So I haven't been on our show since the Padres were, I went live Tuesday night after they won game 1. And so I think it's pretty much it was a foregone conclusion, especially after game 1, that I think we were going to face the Padres. Right. I've been surprised. I mean, for as much I feel like there have been a lot of people who have been super critical of this Dodgers team throughout the season, I do feel like there is a lot of optimism. I don't feel like there's a ton of people that are like, we're screwed. I mean, obviously there's people that acknowledge the injuries, but I do feel like there is a lot of optimism and belief that we could beat the Padres. Like, why not? So that's been a pleasant surprise for an optimist like me.
Okay, exactly. So we'll get into a little bit of mindset of the Dodgers, mindset of the fans that you've been talking to, and mindset of me, who tends to lean negative, but has not been negative for a little while now. So you like it. It's right. And then we'll also get some of your stats here in a minute. But Blue Review is presented by LAX at Los Angeles International Airport. Changes are arriving daily to reduce traffic, save guest time, and transform the travel experience. Info at flylax.com, transforming LAX. All right, so Jeff, it's a mindset. How do you feel this Dodgers mindset is? Because everything that I'm seeing, everything from Dave, there's an article in The Athletic about, from Fabian Ardaya, and it's about the mindset of this team, and that they also, it seems to be that they have the right mindset going into it right now, that they are just like, you got to beat us. And I felt like that's not how it's been in years past.
Mindset is such a tough thing for me. Like, there's all this talk of like, I just want to see passion. I want to see energy. And I always kind of joke like, well, what does that look like? You know, when you hit a home run and a guy celebrates, that's passion and energy, but it's also because he hit a home run. A lot of guys aren't super passionate after grounding into a double play or striking out with runners at first and second. And so to me, like, the way I gauge mindset, and I'll go right back to that Padres series. That Padres series was so encouraging from a mindset perspective. So they go down early in that first game. They fight all the way back to having first and second with Shohei Ohtani on deck. And then they lose. And so at first I'm like, you know what? They fought, they battled back, if not for a bizarro, not bunting, triple play, the whole deal. And then the mindset is confirmed even more, because then they come back out the next day and beat them, and they come out the next day and beat them again, and they clinch the division against the Padres at home. And so to face adversity, to go down, to struggle with runners in scoring position, to battle back, to get kicked in the nuts in that triple play, and then the next two games come back and win. To me, that's the type of mindset, mentality, energy, grittiness, whatever word we want to use. Like, that's the team I think we're going to see. That's the team that the Dodgers have assembled, which is, I think, why there's reason for confidence.
Yeah, and absolutely. And who they did that against on that first game that they lost for the triple play, it was against Robert Suarez. It was
Yeah.
against the closer. They are hitting this bullpen. It
Yeah.
seems like they are actually starting to they can get there. And we talked about it before, but I love the way that they actually did come back against both pitchers too, against the two top ones in Dylan Cease and Joe Musgrove. Dylan Cease, they they just they just waited him out and they got him out. They built up his the pitch count, and they did everything. They were not biting on anything outside, and that was a huge thing. Whereas you saw it against the Braves in game one versus the Padres, and also the Dodgers in that game one.
Yeah.
They were swinging and missing at pitches all outside of the plate. They want you to swing on those pitches. If you're patient, which they were against Cease and not against King, that makes me feel better about how they're going to go about this series. Like, we're not going to get beat by outside pitches. We're not going to get beat by the inside pitches. We're hitting in the strike zone, and that's it. And they know that they can. And it starts right there at the top with Ohtani.
Yeah, I mean, Flaherty versus Cease, which is who we're going to see in game one. That was the matchup on the night after the triple play, and the Dodgers went on to win that game 4-3. We talked about it. Both guys went 5 innings. Both guys allowed 3 earned runs. Flaherty allowed less hits, same number of walks, and had more strikeouts. And so, again, it's not, hey, Jack Flaherty, we need you to go out pitch Dylan Cease. We just need you to match Dylan Cease because we trust the offense and we trust the bullpen and that kind of a thing. And so, again, having just seen this happen, sometimes people are like, the Padres owned us in the regular season. I don't care that the Padres beat us 3 months ago, a week ago. It's the same teams. A week ago, these two teams played, and the Dodgers took 2 out of 3. And again, you could make a case that first game, if not for a bizarro triple play, could have been more in the ballots.
I mean, with the way that he was hitting down the stretch, and we can get into a little bit about what it means to have the time off too at the same time, with the way that Shohei Ohtani was hitting down the stretch, that he was batting like 685 or whatever the number is that you probably have. If he came up, he was getting a hit in that moment. At that time, he was something like 12 of 13 with runners in scoring position. It was going to happen. So now that's kind of where I want to go next, Jeff. Is like, now you have this week off. The Padres had to play 2 games, which they kind of were giving it away yesterday. Do you think that helps or does it matter whatsoever for Ohtani, who is scorching hot, now has a whole week off? Does that change anything?
Yeah, we kind of did an exercise on our show where it was like, well, let's go through the Dodgers roster individual by individual and tell me if this time off helped or hurt the guy in question. I think
it's great exercise.
Yeah, Ohtani, not helpful to have been off a week. You'd love to him to play meaningful games because of where he was at. Mookie Betts, I would say probably not helpful just because, if you're a hitter and you're available, you're healthy, then it's not helpful. But then you get to Freddie Freeman, like 10 out of 10 helpful, if not 20 out of 10 helpful. I think the Dodgers' entire rotation, helpful. Dodgers' entire bullpen, helpful. So I think it's a net positive. Of course, there's guys that it's going to be less than ideal for. Ohtani, basically every offensive player who is healthy, I would say you'd have loved to just roll straight into getting to play immediately. But Rojas, Freeman, who are 2 key starters for the Dodgers, the entirety of the rotation and the entirety of the bullpen, I think it's unquestionably a good thing. So net, for sure, positive, not to mention obviously not having to risk losing to a team like the Braves.
So we always talk about how this team goes with Ohtani, and that Ohtani is really the force that's going to push them forward in the playoffs and to the World Series, hopefully winning the World Series. I think Will winning this World Series. If this doesn't help him and he stops being scorching hot, then is that still a net positive? Because the guy that you need the most cooling down is bad.
I think Ohtani's a freak, and I think he's going to be fine. Like, I think you'd have preferred to just continue playing meaningful baseball games because of the run that he was on. But I also think Ohtani is just incredibly good. Like, he may not be hitting 700 starting in the NLDS, but I still think this is a guy who's going to be the most impactful bat in the series, who's not going to give you like a goose egg, basically. And so I see the point where you're like, well, hey, if this is bad for the most important guy, it's like doing an NFL thing and being like, well, it's bad for the quarterback. It's good for everybody else. It's like, well, give me good for the quarterback and bad for
Bad
everybody
for
else. I'll take
everybody
my
else,
chances.
right?
Like, I get that. I think Ohtani's going to be fine. I think it's like marginally bad. I'm sure this guy is absolutely destroying batting practice. I'm sure he's just remains dialed in because this guy has been dialed in for like years. Yes, he was at a heightened level for the last 2 or 3 weeks, but he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. If Ohtani struggles, I'm not going to look back and be like, oh my gosh, that week off killed this guy. I think I'm going to say it's a fluke. Like, I already know what my argument's going to be. A small sample size, it's a fluke. He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm completely in agreement with you. I think he's going to be fine. I think I truly believe he's going to be the force that pushes everything forward, because without him, there's nothing. And that's also, I know this is a little bit of sidebar, but I still see arguments for Francisco Lindor to win MVP because Shohei Ohtani doesn't play both ways. And they're like, oh, well, I saw there was one person that was saying if Ohtani wasn't on the Dodgers, they'd still make the playoffs. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true this year specifically, with all the injuries, with the fact that Mookie was out for 2 months, and that they were playing guys like Nick Ahmed and Kevin Biggio at first base. Like, they were going to lose a lot of games. I don't think they win the division. I don't think they have the best record in baseball. Yeah. It probably make the playoffs, but they're not anywhere near as good as what they are.
Yeah, I think I would feel really confident saying that. To your point, maybe they sneak into the playoffs, but I mean, they won the division by 5 games. They had the best record by 3 games. If you're telling me you don't think Shohei Ohtani is a 5-game difference, I mean, and obviously it's like the caveat is Kevin Biggio playing all of those games? Then definitely it's like a 12-game difference. But I think Ohtani, easily the most valuable player. I mean, this sounds dumb even saying it. Easily the most valuable player on the Dodgers this season. Especially given a lot of the injuries, that surrounded them.
Yeah. So if his WAR is around a 9, it's like 8 point something, close to 9, and that's without playing defense, by the way.
Yeah.
You take away those 9 wins, you're not in the playoffs. You didn't make it. Like that just shows you enough. If you want your statistics that you love so much,
wins and losses, big ones, big stats I love.
Almost as good as pitch count, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm still getting used to it. I gotta read the Fangraphs article on pitch count. Help me understand it.
It's just a thing that I like to watch. Whatever. So I'm sure
I like it. I like it. I just poke fun because I hate numbers. Love pitch count. Big pitch count guy. And I'm like, look, you should be a pitch count guy. It just cracks me up. The numbers that you pick.
I know. I picked the easy ones.
That's true.
I can count 1, 2, 3 instead of like 7.392.
Right there. They count for you too. That makes it
exactly. So it makes it so like, oh, that's about. But then I have to do a little bit of the math and go like, okay, 15. He's had 15 pitches. He had 45 through the third inning. That's 15 pitches per inning. Trying to work that stuff out. I'd like to push that up to 20 per inning.
Get the TI-87 out.
I would have to play games on that kind of thing. But either way. So one of the arguments that you and I have had for a very, very long time has been who that last roster spot is going to go to. You have 2 or 3. You have options for 2 or 3 when it goes to the on the hitting side. So I think Kike's getting in no matter what. I think he's fully on the roster, and then it's going to come down to Kevin Kiermaier, Andy Pages, and Chris Taylor. Right, those 3. I want to know what you would do and what you think the Dodgers will do, even if it's the same thing.
The good news is Dave Roberts had a quote a week and a half ago that basically said Pages is going to be on the roster. Like, he didn't say it's a done deal, but he's like, I would be shocked if he's not on the roster, something like that. So I think Pages is in. I got eviscerated for saying that Kevin Kiermaier wasn't going to be on the postseason roster like a month ago. I made the mistake of saying this like right before he had that one game where he was good, where he hit the home run and like
made a triple that he did. He sprinted to left field. Yeah.
Right before he went 4 weeks in between his hits. Right before that is when I said that. I think Kiermaier's off. Now, here's a question. Brandon Gomes was talking about, we haven't decided if we're going to take 13 pitchers or not. And it's like, wait a minute, we're seriously considering on this team, given the makeup of the roster and the bullpen and the rotation, taking less pitchers than we're allowed to, just so that Kevin Kiermaier can have a spot on the roster? That sounds insane to me. I think it's going to be Chris Taylor. I think Kiermaier's off. I wouldn't be shocked if Kiermaier was on, but I actually thought it was going to come down to Pages or Kiermaier. So when I heard that Pages was in, I was like, oh, okay. Well, not because Pages is going to play center field, but just I don't see in a 5-game series how a glove only guy, and I know I can already see you're probably going to tell me he's a great bunter and let's get him on the roster so that he can sacrifice bunts or something like that. But no Kiermaier for me would be my guess, and that's also what I would do.
Look, we're going to be in a situation, and I know it's already going to happen, Jeff. You're going to have it's going to be second and third, bottom of the ninth, or first and second, bottom of the ninth, and up comes Chris Taylor, and he grounds into a double play, and the game's over.
As long as it's not a triple play, I'm fine with it.
Right. That's only on Rojas. I think Rojas has probably learned at this point. Like if
Chris Taylor comes up in that spot, there's no way he's not either bunting or swinging after what happened against the Padres,
swinging.
right?
No, he's swinging, and he's going to ground into a double play.
If there's one out, he's swinging. No outs, I think he's bunting or just standing there like a statue.
Then yeah, fine, stand there like a statue. If you have Ohtani, you do not let anything happen for you to lose that. So I think there's scenarios that it's all scenario based, and that's very much what the front office is doing. They're going by scenarios, right? They're thinking about everything possible. I'm thinking about Miguel Rojas. His legs are all jacked up, and he's just kind of like working through a ton of different problems. Yeah. If he is not fully healthy, and you have to have Edman at shortstop, I don't want Pages at center. I'd rather have, and I don't want Chris Taylor at center. Even in 2020, when Chris Taylor played center, what was the guy? The Phillips guy?
Gavin Lux. You want Gavin Lux out there?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I want Kevin Kiermaier out there. That's who I want out there for the defense. I understand he's a net negative on offense. I totally do.
Yeah.
But at least he'll beat out double plays. He can bunt, which I know you'd think is not the most important thing. But
I love that you're like, the selling point starts with like, no. When he grounds out to the shortstop, he's going to run so fast that only the guy at second is going to get up when he's up the plate.
Look, these are scenarios, Jeff. Okay.
I will say I agree with you on Rojas's health. I think is a big piece of this. And they said they're hopeful that Rojas is going to be available. It sounds like they're more confident in Freddie Freeman than they are in Miguel Rojas, but Rojas has also been dealing with this for longer. He's got the shot. He's had time off, et cetera, et cetera. So if they think Rojas is a safe bet to start all 5 games of this series, I don't think Kiermaier's on it. I could see a world where, to your point, if they're really concerned about Rojas, if they go that way, but at the same time, like maybe you just put Rojas on, and if after game 1 or 2 he's a mess, then you just take this where you can place the guy on the injured list and he has to sit out the next round, but you can swap him in. Like I would rather save Kiermaier for the emergency scenario where you have to take Rojas off the roster. That would be my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I think either way, to be honest with you, that's the way that I think that Dave and Andrew Friedman are going to go. I think they're going to go with CT3 over Kiermaier. I don't necessarily agree, and you know my reasons. I want the defensive guy in the later innings. I want a guy that can do more things for you. I just don't see. I know Chris Taylor started to hit, then got hurt, and then started to hit again down the stretch.
333 batting average in the month of September. That's across 46 plate appearances.
Yeah, no, he started to hit much better. I just have seen him too many times in too many big spots have this gigantic swing that he swings through everything and strikes out. And I know Kiermaier is going to do the same thing, but on defense, I trust Kiermaier more than I trust CT3. You're smiling and thinking I'm ridiculous.
I was going to say Taylor does have big moments. I mean, that's the other thing. It's kind of the Kike Hernandez thing where there have been postseasons where Chris Taylor has actually come up.
Milwaukee game 7. Milwaukee game 7. He made an incredible catch in left field.
Wild card game home run off of Reyes, former Dodger for like 2 seconds. Alex Reyes. But I mean, 2021, like he was a huge part of things. He's had, I'm not saying he's been perfect in the postseason, but 2017, 2018, and 2021 were all positive years, and then some bad wins mixed in. So I just think it's the veteran guy, and they've seen it before, and et cetera, et cetera. Can I ask you a bullpen question? I'm going to throw a name at. I have a surprise name for you on the bullpen.
Edgardo Henriquez?
No, not. I actually think Edgardo Henriquez might be off the roster. And I'm wondering, I'm not saying this is likely, I'm just throwing it out there. The Padres are one of the best teams in baseball against right-handed pitching. They are 3rd in weighted runs created plus against right-handed pitching. Against left-handed pitching, they're 18th. Wow. I wonder if Justin Robleski makes the roster. As a lefty, throws hard, can be a bulk guy if you need it. I think he just checks some of the boxes, and it always feels like there's one surprise. So if I'm having to guess the one surprise. I would wonder if they would say, hey, let's get a third lefty. Bonda's back, Vesia's in there, but let's get a third lefty, especially the way the rotation is made up, by the way, of just entirely right-handed pitchers. Let's get a left-handed reliever, an extra left-handed reliever, a guy who can give us multiple innings, who can mop up. Like if they're up 10-0 or down 10-0, he can just come in and eat 4 innings. But that's just a name I'll throw out there that I think has an outside chance.
I see. If like a month ago, I was like, yeah, Justin Robleski, he's absolutely going to be a bulk guy. He's going to be on this team no matter what. I see that he has been so bad.
Yeah,
he's been so bad that I just can't see them actually putting. I know he's a lefty. I think he pitched pretty well against them, either in the Colorado series or in the. He might have. I don't think he got into
the Colorado series. Yeah,
it was a Colorado, and he pitched fine, and he gave him bulk, and he showed stuff. But at the same time, I've seen how this Padres team can hit, and when they get to you, they just continually just get to you, constant hits, and I don't think that he would be able to get himself out of it.
Yeah.
So I don't think I have the trust in Justin Robleski, despite the fact that he's left. Are you the same way, or are you?
Yeah, I wouldn't be highly trusting. I think I'm more skeptical of Enriquez than most people. I think sometimes I feel like there's this propensity to new shiny thing, like overrate all of his positives and underrate all of his negatives. And so I'm not saying he's not going to be great. I think when it comes to young guys like that, I tend to just be slower. Like I kind of want to see it a little bit. And I know he came up, I would say he was fine. Like I wasn't overwhelmed by how amazing he was, but I wouldn't like trust him in a big spot. And so if you gave me those two choices, I think I would say, well, if I don't trust either of these guys, at least give me the guy that they have worse splits against. I think would be my default.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, let's see you're right. There is going to be surprise. Honestly, I think you're going to be surprised, and it's going to be Kiermaier instead of CT3. But we'll see. It very well could go either way. Yeah. But so how are you feeling? This is the last time we're going to talk probably before the series starts. But we'll get you back here next Thursday. Definitely hoping that the Dodgers are still playing at that point. Yeah. So what are you thinking about for this weekend? We got 2 games. You know that it is Flaherty and then Yamamoto on Sunday.
I feel good. I mean, like the caveat of it's playoffs, stupid things happen, it's small sample size, yada, yada, yada. Like as good as I could possibly feel, I think I'm close. I'll say this. I think these are the 2 best teams in baseball. So I think it sucks that we're getting this matchup in the NLDS because I genuinely think the Dodgers and Padres are 1A and 1B as far as the best rosters that are out there. So I think it's going to be a slugfest, and I think it's going to suck for whichever team loses in the NLDS. It's not going to feel fair because if whatever team wins this, I think it's going to be head and shoulders the favorite to win the World Series from the CS and beyond. So with all of those caveats, though, I think the Dodgers are better than the Padres, and I think the rest is going to help them. And so if you tell me that Freddie Freeman is available and can play all 5 games, or as long as this series goes, then I'm picking the Dodgers. I'll say in 5 games.
In 5 games. Yeah, so I'm very much with you. I kind of want to go a little bit more. I think the Dodgers win this one, and I think they take the first 2, and then they win it in 4. Okay. And I think as much as they were not as good against the Padres this year, I think they kind of have their number down the stretch here. I know how hot the Padres have been, but I feel like this team is also in a really good spot mentally and physically, besides the fact of Freddie, because he should be, hopefully is fine. But I think they have the mindset, and because of Shohei, I think that's an X factor that just changes everything for them.
Yeah, I'm with you. Do you have, we get asked all the time, who is your X factor for the NLDS? Do you have a guy? And our rule was it can't be Ohtani, it can't be Freeman. Pretty much anybody else is on the table. But who's for the Dodgers to win this one, who's the guy that has a huge performance?
I think it's going to be one of 2 guys, but I'll just give you one first. I think it's going to be a guy like Tommy Edman, and being able to hit from both sides of the plate, play great defense, and just kind of find his way onto base. He can steal bases. He really hasn't played for most of the year, and now it's just he's like in the middle of his season at this point. I think him having a big series will be that X factor in this right here. How you feel?
Who is your other one? Who is your second person?
Gavin Lux.
Okay.
Gavin Lux. It's about the bottom of the order for me. The
Yeah.
bottom of the order getting on base so that Shohei can drive them in. I think
Yeah.
that's so important. If the bottom, if 6 through 9 are over for the entire time, I think we're screwed. But the fact that if you have a much deeper lineup now and they can get on base and Kike can get on base and everybody just having people on for Shohei makes a massive difference.
Mine's Walker Buehler. I think he's going to be good. So I think
too.
the offense is going to be great, but I think we're going to get a really, really solid, encouraging Walker Buehler start would be my guess. Now, they haven't said if that's going to be game 3 or game 4. They've announced 1 and 2. And
I'm
I'd be
assuming
curious
3.
to see. I assume 3. They haven't announced it, so I don't know if it's maybe, hey, if they're up 2-0 do they try and sneak Knack in? Or I'm guessing maybe part of it depends on like what's the state of the bullpen after the first 2 games, and do we want to go bullpen game there because maybe the bullpen's a little bit more rested, or rather than going straight to Buehler. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Buehler's my X factor.
All right, tell us everywhere we can find you, Jeff, and then we got to get out of here for Travis and DeMarco.
Yeah, Dodger Blue 1958 everywhere on social media, and Dodger Blue 1958 on YouTube. We've got live content every single night of the playoffs, so be sure to join us there. Blake and Scott are going to be on tonight. I will be on tomorrow night with Anthony, and then we've got post-game coverage, game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, all of it. So stay with us, and you can find me at Jeff Spiegel on Twitter.
Thank you very much, Jeff, and we'll talk to you next Thursday. If you ever want to just pop on. You're always welcome. Good. So thank you very much. And thank you to LAX. And thank you to all for being in the chat and being so interactive. We really, really appreciate it. Stick around right here for Travis and DeMarco. See ya.